Hey, this is Matariento. Uh, Recording this video. Got home from work about an hour ago. I'm a bit tired. If I seem that way, I apologize. Just wanted to respond to this. I was going to respond to it yesterday, but my internet crapped out. I'm responding to a video from Jazzy Hap, entitled "One Question Every Intelligent Atheist Must Answer." Uh, I linked the video in the description box just to give, in case he doesn't accept this video response, so that you can view the video, both to be objective, to see both, first to see his point, then my response to it, and also because I'm going to try to explain uh, his theory, his points in his video that might seem confusing if you haven't already seen the video. So I'd recommend checking it out, but that's up to you. Alright, moving on to the actual response. The video, what he does is he presents a algebraic formula, an algebraic equation, stating that to find the origin of life, we make x equal life. Then we say that throughout human history, x has always equaled y, and with y being life, since it equals x, and then x never, no matter how you add or subtract, no matter what you do to either x or z, x has never equaled z. And he says that z represents non-living matter, and he proves his point to try to say that in the origin of life, non-living matter could not have created Z, because human history, non-living matter has never created X, or never created life. So that obviously means that it could never have happened. But in the Bible, which is obviously to this person factual evidence and historical accuracy, he says that in the Bible, life, God created life. Therefore, making it so that x equals y counts, and the origin of life has been figured out. Yeah, I told you it would be confusing. Alright, first of all, to prove him wrong. Uh, to make another point, throughout the video, he mentions that in order to be to count as an educated or intelligent atheist, you must be college educated, and you must know how the world works, etc., etc. You have to be old, smart, educated, whatever. Just to prove that point wrong, all the evidence I've got, throughout this video, he uses basic algebra at the most. So I guess a freshman in high school might get it. But all of the stuff, all of the evidence, and all the explanations I got were from a friend of mine who is a junior in high school, my friend McKensie, which I thank her for providing me this stuff. Alright, to paraphrase what she said, in terms of biology, the origin of life has already been figured out, I guess. It was in the form of a prokaryote, a cell about a little bit bigger than an atom. Uh, the one underneath it is bigger than a virus, and bigger than proteins, smaller than eukaryotes. Um, Basically, what happened was, uh, in time, in the past, chemicals bonded together to form this prokaryote cell, which was the first cell. It was the first cell, the first living thing to reproduce, which is the quality of a living thing to reproduce, asexually, of course. And you basically have all the functions to be the first thing that has the functions of a living being, the first life, the origin of life. Um, So in terms of biology, we figured out the origin of life. But to even destroy his point even further, I'm going to use his formula. Let's see. Um, to prove his point even further, God could not have been alive. Because the funniest thing about it is in the video, he changes the definition of life to fit God. That the origin of life must have been created by a life, which is different from all the other lives. You know, it always existed in some other plane or whatever. And the Bible, the God in the Bible, obviously explains that. In that case, you're wrong because you changed definitions of variables in the middle of the video. You said that in the origin of life, there has to have been created by life. That's not life because if it never follows the qualities of life. And if it did, then it's not the origin, because then that would have been either the thing being created or something must have created it, because you cannot. In order for there to be an origin of life, it could not have been created by life, because then it's not the origin of life. Something had to come before that. Um, yeah. And I think I mentioned earlier in the video, this has been a couple attempts to make this video. But I mentioned a while ago I was going to create my own algebraic equation to try to even further prove his point wrong. Let's say that we let x equal life. Throughout human history, we have always examined that living things, so x times t, which would equal time, equals d, death. So, or maybe even non-living matter. So x times t equals z. So over time, all living things would die, and all living things would become non-living matter because the functions that give them life would stop working. Cells could not reproduce. The functions, if it's a complex organism like a mammal, the functions of the brain would stop working. The heart would not be able to further pump blood through our system. Basically, you know how death works. You know, basically all of what we are becomes non-living matter, just flesh and whatever's left, and just food for the maggots. So, in your origin of life, let's say that we have to keep that life equals life. There is no other life that has always existed or always is in a separate field of life, because if that's true, then screw that. Then it's not life, and that's a totally different argument, and then life doesn't equal life, and then God didn't create people. Whatever. In terms of x times t equals z, if God in somehow created life, then he would have to die, because in your equation he would be life, and all life dies. Throughout human history, we have never witnessed immortality, and the Bible doesn't count, because they can't even get stuff like the distance between Egypt to Canaan correct. So that's thrown out the window if we're gonna say that. So in the terms of that, in order for God to be alive, God would have to die. So throwing out the Bible and saying that Christ's death doesn't count because he comes back and resurrects, all that stuff. And in terms of that, when did God die? Because God, in order to be alive, would have to die. It is, after all, the most logical conclusion. This is Matara Yanto, and I'll post more videos later. Have a nice day.